welcome to this cleansing flow yoga class with Adventure Yogi. So we're going to start off lying down, feet on the floor, knees bent, so we're just as comfortable as possible. Arms rested beside you. And taking just a little bit of time to turn up, to arrive. Allowing for lovely deep breaths. Inhales that really fill your lungs, fill all the way into your belly, and then big, soft sighs all the way out. And as those breaths leave, seeing if they can take out any tension, any stress that's lingering in the shoulders and in the neck, any tightness in the jaw. And having just a moment to be still. And on your next inhale, the knees coming up into the chest. And it's up to you. You can bring the hands to wrap around the knees or just keep them rested beside you. But allowing for a nice sway of those knees gently side to side. It can be a big movement or it can just be really gentle. Seeing this not just as a massage across the top of the glutes, the hips, the lower back, but also getting into the belly. Just moving nice and slowly. And then when you're ready, your next inhale, bring the arms up to shoulder height. And it doesn't matter which way you journey first, but allowing the knees just to drift all the way over to one side to bring you into a twist. If you want a little bit of support in between the knees or underneath them, feel free to use a block or a cushion. And then resting in here for a full breath. Gently rolling back into the middle. Having a bit of a wriggle around in the center if you feel like you've gone a bit off balance. And reintroducing that little sway. And then once you feel ready to, your next exhale guiding you over to the other side. Remembering that support, any blocks or cushions underneath knees can come in if you wish. And then allowing for those big belly breaths to come back in here. Next inhale, rolling you back and into the middle. Next inhale, bringing the feet up and into the air. The legs don't have to be straight. Keep a little bend in them if you need. Pointing the toes to the ceiling as we take a deep breath in and pulling them down as we exhale. Flexing through the feet, stretching through the fronts and the shins. And then back down, hugging the knees into the chest and a little rock. Coming on up to seated. And just finding your comfortable space to sit. Cross legs or legs in front, wherever's going to feel best. On your next inhale, lifting the hands through the body, a lovely big stretch up and overhead. As we exhale, letting left hand drift out in front, the right hand gently behind into a nice twist. Inhaling, lifting the arms back up into the center. Other side, right hand in front, left behind. Inhaling, coming back up. Exhaling, other side, a little twist. That right hand dropping behind, fingertips just touching the floor. And inhaling back up. Exhale, dropping into our twist. Inhaling, coming back. And one last. Left hand in front, right behind, before coming back and into the middle. Palms touching overhead and exhaling the hands into the heart. A full deep breath here. When you're ready, swinging the feet round to the side, coming on up to hands and knees. Hands under shoulders, knees underneath the hips, a little dance around in them both to get comfortable. Coming through a few cat-cows. So as we inhale, opening the chest, gazing out in front, space across the collarbones, and then exhaling, drawing it all in, that space now under the shoulder blades. Inhale, dropping down, open chest. Exhale, from the navel, drawing it all in and spine high. Inhale, dropping down. Gazing out in front, crown of your head lifting. And exhaling. One last draw in. Coming back into the center. Letting left hand stay grounded, right hand reaching up and overhead, and then feeding that right hand underneath, and then lifting back up. Exhale, feeding right fingertips through that little space, reaching through, and then inhaling, coming back. Exhale, feeding through, stay nice and high up to the body, and then reaching up. Dropping right hand back to the floor, swapping sides. Inhaling, left hand lifting, chest and gaze following those fingers, and then feeding it through to the right. Inhale, lifting up, and then exhaling, feeding through. Inhale, lifting up, and exhale, left hand feeding in. Dropping on down to the floor. Spreading fingers wide, get comfy, toes tucked, lifting knees, chest drawing back to thighs, tail up high into our down dog. Having a few breaths, just pedaling through the feet, a little movement and sway through the hips. Just getting warmth through the ankles, through the calves. And then having a moment to just breathe in your down dog. Dropping down to hands and knees as you land. Untucking toes, hips back to heels. Right hand feeding through underneath the left into our thread, the needle. Full breath here. Inhaling that right hand, then sliding out in front, lifting the left, and gently the other side, left shoulder and temple dropping to the floor. Inhaling, left hand back out in front, fingers spread, and then coming on up, back to hands and knees. Toes tucked behind, lifting knees, tail up high, back into our down dog. Your next inhale, that left foot stepping up and in between the hands, into a lunge, high on those fingertips, right fingertips staying grounded as left hand lifts up. Exhaling, dropping back to the floor, tail up high, left foot sliding back into plank before bending knees, drawing it all back and back to down dog. Swapping sides. Right foot coming up and in between the hands. Left hand staying grounded and right hand reaching high. Chest and gaze following, reaching through those fingertips. Dropping back. Tail high. Right foot sliding back into plank and then bending knees, pushing weight back to hips and heels and into down dog. Next, inhale, letting the hands wander their way back to the feet, heels firmly planted on the floor and folding forwards. Take as much of a bend in the knees here as you need to look after your lower back. Next inhale, hands to shins, halfway lift, drawing in through the navel, flat back. Exhaling, softening back to fold forwards. Inhale, pushing through the soles of the feet, rolling all the way up to standing. Hands up high and overhead. Keeping hips facing forwards as we exhale, that left hand drifting out behind, right hand in front into a standing twist. Inhaling, coming back to the middle and swapping over. Left hand in front, right hand behind, keeping arms shoulder height. Inhaling, coming back into the middle, palms to touch. As the hands drop down, lifting the left knee. Lovely, strong, flex left foot. Right hand crossing over to that left knee and with a sweep of the arm, drifting behind. Don't worry if you wobble, especially if you're not wearing your glasses and trying to stand on one foot like me. Back to the middle, arms high, left foot grounded, this time right knee coming up, that strong flexed foot, left hand crossing over to meet it, sweeping the right arm behind. Inhaling, bringing that right hand back in, hands up high and dropping foot to the floor. Inhale, left knee coming up, right hand crossing over to meet it and dropping left hand behind, chest and gaze following if you want to test your balance. Inhaling, coming back, hands high, softly left foot back to the floor. Inhale, right knee coming up, that left hand dropping over to meet it and right hand behind. Inhale, coming back into center, dropping right foot to the floor, palms to touch as we exhale, soft knees, open chest, hinging from the hips and folding forwards, the tail lifting up as the head hangs. Nice shake out here. Inhale, hands to shins, little halfway lift, drawing in through the navel, flat back. Exhale, softly folding in. Wandering the hands out in front to find our down dog. Make sure you give yourself enough space. Your spine is your priority. On your next inhale, the left foot stepping up in between the hands, staying on the toes on the right foot, finding a strong grounding. Inhaling, lifting up into our lunge, hands high. So taking a little twist. Right hand out in front, left behind. Keep gentle with your balance. Inhaling, back into the middle. Right foot swinging flat to the floor, left hand in front, right behind into our warrior two. Inhaling, bringing chest to face forwards, back up onto those toes behind, back to our lunge. Into our twist, left hand behind, right in front. Inhaling, reaching hands back into the center. Letting a hinge from the hips, bring fingertips down to the floor, tail high, sliding that left foot back and into our down dog. Having a little moment to even things out, pedal through and breathe. Swapping sides. Right foot stepping up in between the hands, strong grounding with the feet. Inhaling, lifting up. Keeping your balance, move slowly, twisting. Left hand in front, right behind. Inhaling into the center, left hand coming behind, left foot to the floor and into our warrior two, shoulders relaxed. Inhale, bringing chest back to center, back up onto those toes behind, lunge. Into our little twist, left hand in front, right behind, and back to the middle. Hinging from the hips, fingertips down to the floor. Tail reaching up high, sliding back to our down dog. Readjusting and a full breath. Rolling shoulders over hands, finding your way into plank. Move the hands and feet a little further apart if you need the space. Knees dropping to the floor, elbows hugged in, hips and chest lowering to the ground. Untucking toes, shoulders rolled back and peeling up. Exhaling, slowly back, toes tucked, pushing back up, hands and knees, hips drawing back, tail up high, and back to down dog. Once you are settled into your down dog, little twist, the left hand coming up to find the right calf as you gaze under right arm. Left hand back out in front, ease it in, and then swapping sides. Right hand feeding in to find left calf. Right hand back out in front with lots of smooth control, dropping down to hands and knees. Deep breath in, dropping belly, open chest, gazing ahead. Exhale, drawing navel in and arching the spine high. Coming into the center, untucking toes and sitting onto the heels. If this isn't comfy, feel free to sit cross-legged. So a little pranayama exercise, breath of fire, left hand to heart, right hand to belly. So we're going to take really short, sharp breaths with the real focus on that exhale, really pushing that breath out as quickly as we can, filling the lungs back up again and forcing it back out. So we'll create short, sharp inhales and exhales, feeling everything lift and sink as we go, creating warmth, creating fire in the belly. And then your next inhale, filling the lungs and softly sighing that breath away. Dropping the hands down as we inhale, lifting up onto the knees, the arms lifting high overhead. On an exhale, letting hips sink back to heels, arms swinging behind and head to the floor in our child's pose. Inhale, sweeping the arms back up onto the knees and hands high. Exhaling, sweeping them back behind, forehead to drop to the floor. Inhaling, lifting back up, open chest, gaze following those fingers, and then sinking back down. Letting the hands rest, the forehead hang, and a breath in our child's pose. Inhaling, hands out in front, lifting back up to hands and knees. Coming to toes tucked to sitting on the heels and back to our breath of fire. If sitting with toes tucked as we do this is uncomfortable, just untuck them. Those short, sharp breaths, forcing each exhale out. And then your next inhale, filling the lungs. And an exhale to just sigh it all away. Letting the hands drop down. Coming back to hands and knees. Inhale, dropping belly, open chest, gazing out. And exhaling, drawing the navel in, one last arch of that spine high. Coming in to seated. Doesn't matter how you get there, have a little shuffle on your mat so heels come up to the top. Lots of space behind us. Inhaling, bringing the hands high overhead. Right hand over to the outside of the left knee and right hand behind into a strong seated twist. One full breath. Inhaling, coming back gently to the middle. Swapping sides, reaching hands high overhead, strong flex in those feet. Left hand in front, right hand gently dropping back. Make sure that back hand doesn't start supporting your weight. Keep it central with the hips. Full breath. Exhaling gently back to the middle. Letting knees bend, feet planted to the floor and rolling back to the ground. Once you are there, making sure that knees and ankles are in line, we're going to cross right knee over the left as if you were crossed legs in a chair, and allow for this cross to gently sway us side to side. This could feel like quite a strong massage through your glutes, so go gently and take your time with it. Keeping shoulders relaxed, no tension in the neck. Unraveling and swapping sides. Left knee crossing over the right. And again, reintroducing our gentle sway. This side might feel a little deeper massage into those glutes. Drifting back into the center. Unraveling the left, planting the foot back to the floor. Full deep breath here. And then when you feel ready, just sliding the feet out in front. If you need to have a good move around to get yourself as comfortable as you can, feel free to do so. So settling in to our Shavasana. And bringing that focus to start just to breathing. As we were at the start, lovely deep inhales and soft, gentle exhales all the way out. And as those breaths leave, creating this lovely sensation and feeling of every muscle in your body being allowed to go heavy. Tension easing out from the deepest parts of your being with each breath. Consciously relaxing your ankles, your knees, your hips, your hands, elbows, shoulders, and from those joints, all of the muscles that connect with them. Notice any tension in the face, in the jaw, the cheeks, and around the eyes, and see if a few deep breaths can really soften into there. Gifting yourself a minute of just still and silence to be. Starting to allow breaths to become a little deeper again. Inhales that fill the lungs and sighing that breath completely away. Starting to let movements find their way back, the fingers and toes, and then all the way through the body until you feel ready to move freely. Softly rolling over onto your side and eventually, but without a rush, finding your way up to seated. Finding a nice comfy seat, hands rested, eyes closed, and coming back to those deep breaths. Bringing the hands to come together at the heart, a little bow of the head to meet them. And we say, Namaste.